Zebec just pack a punch their team, so why is the price dropping? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, if you're new to the channel, right, I'm going to start covering this coin at least 3 times a week. Now, if you guys want it more often, I could be doing it every other day. And if you guys really do support the videos and you really want consistent micro updates, we can even do daily videos. It does not bother me. So make sure to subscribe and let's just jump right into this. Before we give the analysis on the charts, let's talk about the news that came out with the Zebec network. So we can see, right, as Zebec expands globally, we're proud to welcome three new strategic advisors, each a leader in their field with remarkable pedigree, right? I'm not going to even Wojtek Ski, right? Actually, this I am Polish. I should be able to say this, but anyways, co-founder, right, of Gate Knox, right, architect behind Blink and global fiction veteran, right? We can see Daniel, founder of Science Card UK, AI plus the Web3 builder, PhD in biomedical engineering. John, Oxford DPhil, former CSO of Science Card UK, expert in data-driven health and research finance. Their experience will help shape Zebec's role in on-chain payments, education finance, and its institutional adoption. So we can see pretty good pack-a-punch. I mean, these people have some kind of good titles, good experience behind them, and we can see overall, right, the community is very happy. In fact, we're going to go on their Twitter because I haven't done this really. We can see that we are almost at 275,000 followers. Okay, which is good, right? When we're growing on even on something like Twitter, right? It is always good to see. And we can see we're actually getting really good, healthy views. 55,000 views, 51,000, 99,000, right? The reply to it was 12,000, 168,000. Oh my gosh. So we could see there is clearly a lot of hype around this token and for good reason. Now, here's the deal, right? Some people are confused. Why is it that there's some good news that comes out, but price is going down? That's because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to tell you, but most of the time when there's some good news, it doesn't necessarily mean automatic pump, okay? The markets, they need time to reset, especially after a very huge rally, right? After a very huge rally. We can see that Zebec network was chilling roughly for about a year, going sideways until it finally expanded. We even covered it in the private community, looking for buys roughly around this area. And we even made a video on it, right? And we can see that from this zone over here, roughly where we bought in, we have gone up at one point, almost 4 times our money. We also called out, I did say I was selling my positions roughly that 3.5 times gains, which was somewhere over here. Okay. I also did make a video saying, hey guys, it looks like there's going to be a reversal. For one, Bitcoin is going to start dropping a couple of thousand, and I expect this Zebec network hype and this expansion to start feeling that hit. And number two, obviously because of the structure, right? The structure I was seeing was already for me indicating that we're getting weaker and weaker. And I said, okay, you know what? I believe the reversals and the correction is coming. And for me personally, being up 3.5 times my money, I just thought of it, hey, right, even though I do believe this project will go up, why not flip that 3.5 times money, put into another coin that could potentially make me 10 to 20x and get 35 to 70x gains from the initial money I put in this token, right? So it was just like a logical thinking for me and my end. I also called out the sell positions in the private community, right? And then we can see, we talked about certain zones we would bounce off of, and we talked about roughly over here that we are looking to be bouncing off this zone. But here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen, there are 0 signs of any reversals to the upside, right? And we've talked about this for a couple of videos now, and in the community. So we can see, right? We have one top over here. We have a lower high, a lower high, a lower high, lower high, lower high. Now, unless we start breaking to the upside, which I do not expect for some type of pullback, then we are simply going to sell off. We've also seen it historically kind of have a similar type of pattern all the way back in February, right? When it went from these lows over here, had a pretty nice expansion of roughly, 2.2 to 2.5 times your money. And then it just kind of just kept going and sold off heavy. So I do expect Zebec network to continue to drop off. We can also see that we have created a beautiful institutional candle. And like I said, it's very similar to this type of candle over here. And even, these ones down here. And we can see after this, we have sold off aggressively. So for me, I do expect some type of sell-off at the bare minimum to 0.00335 area, right? Because that is the all-time high of the last previous data we see. So we can see I do expect it to at least go down there, but it is also more likely that we will go and have a bigger correction. Now, I could take it from the tops over here, right? If we take it from the top to the bottom, boom, right? We can see an 88% pullback would be very, very far, right? A 50% pullback would be roughly in the zone, and roughly 60% would be at these all-time highs. Now, if we actually go and maybe take it from when we start expanding, right? When we start expanding, right? We can look at it this way too. We can see that if we take it from that perspective, coming back to these all-time highs, retesting off this, and potentially going lower means we could tap into this 78% retracement. So going back, retracing about 80% would be actually very, very healthy for this token. I would be really, really surprised if we would pull back all the way down here, right? I would be really, really surprised if we did. Okay, I do think this token is going to hold a little bit better. Most likely go between, this zone over here of below 0.003, right? Just below that. It makes the most sense. I would be, like I said, really, really surprised if we went all the way back here. Now, like I said, this coin does have unique structure, but since we are overall bullish with the whole crypto market and this token is overall fairly bullish, I don't really expect that. But if we did, for some reason, come back down here, then I would be definitely looking to dollar cost average very, very aggressively, at least me personally, right? You don't have to take my advice, not a financial advisor, but that's just something I would do. So we're going to be keeping an eye out, right? Like I said, nothing is indicating upside, right? Nothing. We need to see some type of break of structure to the upside to even consider that. I simply follow the data. The data says, okay, we are simply looking to go lower and lower, and that is what is going to happen. There's a reason why, we pretty much called the tops, right? Not the literal tops, but I mean, it's right over here, right? And of course, we called almost the last relevant bottoms before it went up. So for me, technical analysis is king. I personally believe in it. And, I do think and actually do know that we will go lower, but that doesn't bother me because I just see a discount opportunity to re-enter. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy. Highly recommend joining the Discord community for very valuable info and, of course, a portfolio review as well. That is it. Hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye. Portfolio reviews, economic and global updates and news, frequent up-to-date technical analysis, and a very supportive community. Sell and buy calls and trading education is provided. If that sounds good to you, now is the time to act. Once the markets start moving, there is no I should've, coulda, woulda. Now is the time. If you want to take things to another level, we have the blueprint that covers everything from A to Z in crypto that you need. No fluff, no bullshit, just the most important news, fundamentals, and technicals to have you succeed in these markets.